This is a very interesting quote by the French Enlightenment philosopher Voltaire about how sometimes the best way to treat a patient is just let time run its course, and sometimes it's sort of got to amuse and sort of distract the patient. I want to talk about this, what it means for the practice of medicine specifically, and then address what it means to me more generally at a personal level. And I think the first thing in terms of the practice of medicine is the importance of patient-centered care. This idea that we've got to treat the patient and not the disease, because at the end of the day, that's what the patient cares about. And also in cases when some diseases can't be cured, for example, end-stage cancer. This sort of theme is picked up on by a few books, Atul Gawande's Being Mortal and Paul Kalanithi's memoir, When Breath Becomes Life. And I'll take Paul's example, where he's sort of this accomplished brain surgeon who receives a diagnosis of an inoperable brain tumor, and he goes through endless chemotherapeutic rounds. But essentially, these books sort of highlight the fact that what's important is we've got to treat the patient, make sure that their mental, emotional, and spiritual well-being are looked after, and sort of are they in connection with their family and friends, because these other sort of facets of care are just as important as attacking the disease at hand. I think the second thing that this quote means for the practice of medicine, at least for me, is just sort of taking care of those small details between a doctor and patient. Whether that's remembering them, something as simple as remembering their name, or if they're staying in a hospital, making sure that the stay is quite welcome and warm. That they're getting their food on time, that the bathrooms that they're using is clean. Things like these small details really go a long way in communicating that we really care to the patient. I'm reminded of my time of working with Riverlink Disability Services, which I've worked there for 3 years, and where I support kids with autism. And I've really realized the difference that those small acts of care can really make to that kid having a really good day. Even simple things as making sure that they are finished their lunchbox that their mum packed for them, making sure that they go to the toilet on time, making sure that they get their medication on time. These simple things that, if I manage correctly, actually make sure that they enjoy the activity that day. I think that another thing, thirdly, what this means for the practice of medicine is sometimes we just got to let nature run its course. Sometimes there's an overemphasis, especially in mental health, this over-medicalization, relying on drugs. We don't want to perpetuate this idea that there's a drug that just cures every single disease. There's a problem of over-prescription by a lot of GPs, and we want to combat against that and look towards more natural forms of healing. And there's going to be an emphasis more on the importance of healthy lifestyle habits and how they are preventable for a large number of chronic diseases, since we're sort of in a chronic disease epidemic. I kind of want to touch on what this quote means to me more generally. And I think the first thing, just coming from my background in the medical sciences at university, is my fascination with the ability for the body to heal itself. I took a third year immunology course, and I was so fascinated by the recent Nobel Prize that was awarded to those researchers that discovered that they could reactivate the immune system to fight cancer, those so-called immune checkpoint inhibitors. And I'm just fascinated by the body's ability to naturally heal itself. I think the second thing that this quote means to me is the importance of warmth and human affection. I've worked 6 years as a volunteer for Vinnie's Van, and we deliver food to the homeless across various locations in Western Sydney. And I'm always surprised by how much that the patrons there, they just want to be listened. They just want their frustrations to be heard, and they just want to have a chat more than the actual sort of food or drinks that you're giving them. They appreciate that more, and it makes them feel valued as a human being, which matters most at the end of the day. I also want to talk about, I think, what this means to me is like the importance of humor and the importance of seeing people regularly over time. This can make a really big difference to showing people that you care for them. Early in the year, unfortunately, a close friend of mine committed suicide, and so me and my friends decided to see the family regularly, once a week, and we'd sort of not focus on the grief, but try and focus on more happier things. So we'd always bring a board game, or we'd bring some pizza, or we'd all watch a movie together. And it's been 6 months since the passing away of my friend, and there's been huge improvement in how they've sort of matured along their grief process and how they view their son's death. And I think these small details of affection can go a long way.